Nope, that's a different key. And let me turn this off. Look how cool this guitar is. Hey everybody, how crazy is this thing? So this is a Showalter. This is the prototype of what's called the Showalter Free Spirit. And dude, this is from the mind of just a great guitar builder, Steve, just a couple miles up the road. And yeah, so a Showalter. I think a couple people here, I know Howard has a Showalter, and a couple other people have ordered Showalters. They're amazingly affordable. Yeah, my coffee's hot. I gotta grab the handle. But they're amazingly good for what they are. Hey everybody, man, what a fun. It's been a couple weeks, and I've missed you. I've missed the live show. It's super fun. And yeah, so we'll start from the top. These are ones that came in before the show even started. There should be a great video. Reminders on. We'll see if Staley shows up here in a minute. Maybe you're already here. The Panda says, I'm ready for my listing to get destroyed. Yeah, destroying's not my MO. But I might pick on some stuff, or might say you're vague, or might totally understand why people aren't buying your stuff. And, but, anyway, Sonia's here. Hey, Sonia, how are you? I'm glad you're here. How's the audio, by the way? I am doing it I'm doing it at 720. I'm not doing full 1080, because that's where it seems to get bogged down. And, but, yeah. Rasmus is here. Hey, buddy. We were just texting earlier today. Matt McPherson says, about time. It's true. It's been a while. It's been like, I think, has it been 3 weeks? Yeah, I did. I think it's been 3 weeks since the live show. I'm sorry. I've had a lot going on, and I'll tell you about one of the crazy things that happened a little bit ago. I am Gotcha, Jim. Hey. And Sean is here. And if you see this little symbol by their name, if you're on YouTube, you might see a little Guitar Hunter logo. That means that they're a channel member, and this video really only happens through the support of channel members and patrons, and you can be one or the other. I don't know which one. They have different perks. Anyway, but if you see that icon, that means that they're a channel member. Consider being a channel member. I think it's like $2 a month, and it's just a tiny little easy way that you get to support me, and you also get live videos and a Facebook group. And some other things. There's all kinds of stuff. So, Staley's here. Hey, buddy, we were just talking about you. And there's some great questions. Cowtown Customs, how fun. Cool, hello from Ohio. I thought Reno. Isn't Reno Cowtown? But Cowtown Customs, that's awesome. Hey-oh! What? Oh, man, Daniel. So Daniel bought an L3 from me. He hasn't gotten it yet. It's still here. And then he got a custom strap from Bluebell Straps, which those guys are amazing. And I've got a couple straps coming next week from Bluebell that I'm super excited about. Michelle, is that Michelle Pumpkin Spice Latte? From sunny Florida. Hey-o. Patreon is great. Yeah, thanks, Jim. Yeah, so patrons, Patreon or channel members both get early access to videos, and it's kind of a little more direct line to me. And it's time that we also do, every now and then I'll do free video calls for patrons. So anyway, we should send out those again. But one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you guys, let me put this guitar back. But I'll finish showing you this real quick. So this is a Showalter. This is the prototype of the Free Spirit. So because it's the prototype, it is very like modern art. And I'm going to film a video on this. But look at that walnut on the back and sides. So sycamore top, walnut back and sides, has a giant sound port over here. And then it's like, just very approachable for the neck. One thing that is confusing about this guitar, and like I said, I'm going to make a video, is, I don't know if you can see that, it's trying to focus on my eyes. But on the side of the neck, all of the fret markers are wood, but they're the same tone of wood as the neck. So anyway, they're opposite of how my brain tells me that they should be. But Little choppy, little clippy. Not trying to... I did ask, and I'm glad you said something. All right, we will turn this down just a smidge. That should be better. We're running the compressor a little cooler there. So this guitar is just bonkers. It's so cool. And yeah, I'm going to make a video, especially that back little corner there. So anyway, I'll make a video about this next week. And it just started raining too, so you might get some rainy noise. But I also have a new hair light. That's what they call it. So there's a light up here just at a frame that really makes it crispy. So anyway, I'm excited. The channel's growing, and we're getting lots of new people. And I've done a bunch of calls this week. So one of the things that you can do is you can book calls with me, where you can just ask me questions. So like somebody, Aaron, I bet Aaron's not here because he's tattooing. But Aaron loves old Guilds. And so a guy called me yesterday. He has a 72 D50. And he was wondering, like, how much is it worth? How would I sell it? Where would you sell it? You know, what do I need to do before I get it sold? So anyway, if you want, you can also book calls with me. It's a super fun. It's one of my favorite things I get to do. Yes. So anyway, well, I haven't told anyone this. So you guys are the first ones on the internet. Y'all use all. I don't want to say just guys, because there's Sonia and there's Michelle and there's other. Whoa, hey-oh. Mark Hopkins is here. Okay, Mark, this show's for you. We'll talk about this. And you and I have talked about this before, I think, as well. But, so 2 weeks ago, I was driving home, actually 2 weeks ago today, on Friday, I was driving home from Merlefest, and let me just show you. And this happened, which was awful. So my Subaru is dead. I am alive. I'm quite alive, and I'm good. I'm healthy. I'm safe. And so anyway, so what happened? I was driving back from Wilkesboro, North Carolina, from Merlefest. I'm like 30 miles, 40 miles from home, and all of a sudden, I started having car trouble, so I needed to get off to the side of the road. I put on my hazard lights. I was seeing people were kind of passing me, and then there was a guy who was just not paying attention. I saw in my mirror, I looked back, I was like, that guy is going to hit me really hard and really fast. And I could see him with his head down. I could see the top of his head through the windshield. And so I couldn't really get out of the way because my engine was turned off. Like, literally, that's the kind of engine trouble I was having. And so I had hazard lights on. I'm trying to get out of the way, but I don't have the engine on, so I don't want to use like too much of the steering since I don't have power steering. I don't want to use too much of the brake since the brake master cylinder only really has kind of one push to get me stopped. And so I realized this guy's going to hit me. And so the dude, I'll put the picture back up and you can kind of see. So at maybe 70, he was doing 75, maybe 80. And he stood on the brakes, but in the last, like, 20 yards. And I was in the right lane. I was doing 45 or so, 10 seconds removed from, serious engine trouble. And this dude just blew straight into the back. And so when it did, there was a cooler that was in the back of the car that got totally smashed. And when it did, it shot ice water up towards me. So as soon as the wreck happened, like, there's water on the windshield. And I'm wet, like, all on my right side. And I couldn't understand what had happened. And we get over to the side of the road. And the guy says, like, oh, my gosh, are you okay? He gets out. And he's, like, standing in traffic, basically. And cars are whizzing past him. I was like, get out of the way, man. Like, I'm okay. So we get out of the car. And I can, like, feel my heart just pounding. But I wasn't hurt. I kind of checked myself. But it was such a dump of adrenaline that it took me maybe 30, 40 minutes, and by then I started kind of hurting. And so I don't think there's anything lasting. Like, my body feels pretty normal. I'm 2 weeks out, and I still am, like, a tiny bit sore. But for the first couple of days, man, I had no, like, arm strength at all. So that one hurt a lot. It didn't hurt. Well, let me say, there are a couple of things that happened that were crazy. Like, one, I had a lot of time. It felt like I had 2 or 3 seconds to kind of prepare myself to get hit, because I could see he doesn't see me. What do I need to do? And I had like strange levels of clarity just to mentally kind of figure out what I needed to do. So number one thing I knew I needed to do was to keep the car in neutral and to keep both hands on the steering wheel and to keep straight. The other thing I knew is that I needed to like lean into the car seat. I don't know. I might have told Aaron about this. I've told a couple people, but Mike is staticky choppy. There's nothing I can do about that because it's obnoxious. So yeah, we're at lower quality in the audio. I'll move the mic up closer so it's a little closer to me. But anyway, all that to say, like, I could see the guy coming, and then it all kind of culminated in me having to just kind of lean into the seat so that I could let the car kind of take me when it hit me. And thankfully, like, my arms hurt a lot just from hanging onto the steering wheel so tightly, I think. I mean, that was over a week of, like, not really having any strength to, like, hold stuff. But there were no guitars in the car. I was coming home from Merlefest, and there were 2 Gallaghers that were supposed to come home with me at the last second, just for pure, I don't know why. I was like, I'll just leave them here. Like, David, you hang on to them. If I need them, we can ship them, or you can ship them. And they were guitars that I was going to do some demos on. But I think I'm going to take a little pause from so much Gallagher stuff. Maybe not a pause. I'm just going to take a break and see kind of where it goes and start working more behind the scenes on their stuff. Anyway, but all of it culminated with, we're on the side of the road. It took like 2.5 hours to get both cars kind of hauled off. The other guy got a bunch of tickets because the other part was like, as soon as he got out of his car, it just smelled like a cloud of hot smoke. And which I didn't say anything to the cops because I figured it was pretty obvious, and But anyway, it was a couple days before I realized, like, holy cow, like, it was a couple days before I realized, like, whoa, there was a level of protection. Like, the fact that I wasn't scared at all, and I have 3 little kids, like, it's such a dangerous thing. I wasn't scared, and I knew what to do. So, anyway, man, it was crazy. So, the car is toast. I have not been looked at by a physician. Well, I got looked at by EMTs, and then I just happened to be at the doctor for some other stuff, and they kind of checked me out. And so I had, like, not a doctor per se. But anyway, so that's where we've got to do it. But I did we'd been saving up for another car for a while, but I'd been, like, slow because I liked that Subaru. So we had some money saved up. So we went ahead and bought another car yesterday. And, but yeah, so anyway, there it is. How crazy is that? So it got blown out. You can see it got hit so hard that on both sides of the fenders were rubbing against the back wheels. So that car is toast. And it's a bummer. I really liked that car. But anyway, go to the doctor for a specific appointment. I think you're right. I should, for sure. Yeah, so the other guy was good. I was good. Car's not good, but all the insurance company's been really helpful. Like, they're replacing, like, there was a car seat for one of my kids that was just, like, covered in broken glass and, like, smashed up in the back seat, and we couldn't get out. There were some fishing poles for kids, and then there was just some other stuff. So anyway, what is the new Guitar Hunter whip? Ladies and gentlemen, I got the least fashionable car I could find, which was the best car under 100,000 miles with the most, like, the easiest to take care of. So I got a Mazda 5. So it's a tiny little minivan. It's actually awesome. And most people, it's pretty nerdy, but it's also black with dark black tint. It's just cool. And I'm going to put a good radio in it. And so it has 6 seats and, should be able to haul a bunch of guitars. So anyway, yeah, that Subaru, it was so good. I mean, it also exploded. Like, there were so many parts on the highway. But anyway, I did want to tell you guys about that, because it was intense. And, there still is, like, there's plenty of separation. Like, there's plenty of aspects of my life that I don't necessarily talk about on the channel, but I'm a pretty open book. And so anyway, so that's a part where I felt like I was coming home from a guitar thing, and it's pretty important. So I'm going to mention it in a video. So anyway, Mazda 5s are cool. Yeah. take that. My friend Todd thinks it's the worst thing ever. Oh, hey, I'm jumping into a conversation here. Chad says, need a new acoustic? I play mostly at church, and I play at home. Country, praise and worship, rock. Looking for a Streetmaster D and a GPC, a Taylor AD17, a 214 CE Plus, and a 210 Deluxe. Any recommendations? Country, praise and worship. I mean, it really comes down to style, like what you're into. I would think dude, the AD17 is such a good guitar. I had one that I didn't plan on trading until I was offered a hand-built custom guitar from Nathan Wright. So, but the AD17 is great. The AD27 is great. Daniel has one of those. I don't know. Like, I personally wouldn't go with the Taylor, the 214 or the 210. They're a little thin sounding. They don't have enough bass or low end for me. The Streetmaster would be good, or the AD17. Those are the two that, but they're very different, those two guitars. Even though they're similar materials, they're going to sound very different. But anyway, cool. Well, so let's do some live show stuff. Yeah, had a car wreck. We talked about that. Other than that, life's been pretty good. We got back from the beach and just, a busy week trying to come back. But let's party. So, this week we're going to talk about how to write compelling descriptions, because the thing is, in the process of all of us are buying guitars, and none of us are buying only keeper guitars that we will have for the rest of our lifetime. So a lot of us are going to have guitars that you bought for good reasons, bad reasons, whatever, and just it's time to move them on. And the worst thing that can happen is you just bottom out and lose too much money. I've only ever lost money on 2 guitars. 2. Which is not typical. And yeah, so I wanted to share, and this is some of the stuff. I do cover some of this in my course. Look at that placement. I'll do this one so you can see more. But in the course Write Guitars Faster, this is a component, but this is actually a little more just practical and thought through. But if you're interested, you can check that out. I have so many drinks, and I'm getting distracted. I usually hold a drink, and then I don't ever drink it by the end. I'm thirsty. But if you're going to write compelling descriptions, there are 4 main things that you have to be able to do in those. And then I'm going to review your descriptions. We'll look at listings here, and we'll see how it goes. But, so keep this in mind then. These are the 4 things I'm going to hold against the descriptions that we look at. So number 1, you have to, as clearly, and this feels super obvious, you have to as clearly as you can say what you're offering. But I would put this as, say it the clearest way possible, in a way using guitar language or using really clear language so that people will see, I want that. I'm so excited about that. It's kind of say it in a way that is just how cool this thing is. So what are you selling? Be really clear. This is where you get some of the specs, and people are going to be like, what is the nut width? What is the scale length? What's the bridge spacing? What's the history on this guitar? And they'll ask the dumb question, which is what's the least you'll take for it? That one kills me. Number 2, why would people love it, or what would they love about it? And so this is where you would start kind of you're selling a bit in here. So this is the second chunk of what you're going to write. And so in this, this is where you would hit, you would say who this is perfect for, or you would talk about genres or kinds of, this is a perfect guitar for playing out in a bar. And so just phrase it in a way like you are presenting this thing as it fixes a problem. It fixes a problem in their world. Your guitar's not good at staying in tune, so this guitar's really reliable. It's great at being outside if you're playing in church, if you're playing at a bar. Just really position, really have that question that you're going to answer in your head. Now, the third thing you have to do, and this is where most of us kind of shy away, the third thing you have to do is think about what would they be opposed to, or what would be difficult for somebody to get over with this guitar. Does it play hard? Is the action high? Is it buzzy? Is the action too low? Or is there a gnarly neck crack? Is there a ding? But there's some strategy to this, and there's some bonuses here at the end. But think about whatever opposition you would have, and then put it in a way that it fixes that problem. Or think about the guitar that they might have currently right now. So what opposition would they have to it? It's too expensive. It's a unique color. It's like any of those things. Think about that, and then think about how you'd walk them around that that opposition. Like one man's boring guitar is another person's iconic guitar or historical guitar. So there are lots of ways that you can position stuff and just kind of phrase stuff so that you help people walk around, and all of a sudden they start selling themselves on it, talking themselves into it. Like, don't say it's too expensive, but say that it's an incredible value, or it's a guitar that holds its value. The fourth thing that you have to do is you have to, like, are you calling them to action? Are you cinching this thing together in such a way that, like, they understand the stakes? They understand, like, oh my gosh, this is a deal. This is a cool guitar. If I don't act now, it will be gone. And so that's where, so usually, and this kind of ties into the third thing, for me, I always cinch together this with like, buy this now and let's make a deal. Let's get you playing by the weekend. I say something like with some time, with some urgency, because hopefully, if it's not going to sell to them, it's going to sell to somebody in the next couple days. So you have to kind of, in the right way, call them to action. You want them to buy your guitar. Now, this is the part that if you don't, it's kind of like when you're at a party and you meet a girl, at least for me, and you walk up. Like, this is what kills me about websites. Websites, you want an action. You want the customer to respond, but we're like scared of coming off as salesy, coming off as pushy. And so we use this like super vague language on websites. Just think about if you would walk up to a girl at a party and you would use the same phrase that a lot of people use on their websites. You know, you come up and you're like, hi, I'm Jeremy. Let's get started. People are like, what the hell's wrong with you? Or if it's just you walk up and you're like, hi, learn more. So you need to have a really clear call to action. You need to really sharpen down what you're actually asking them to do. Is that buy it today? Is that let's get together and you can see this guitar? Is it come hear this guitar at a show? I don't know who would do that. But whatever the action you need them to take, pretty much for everybody, it's just going to be to buy it then. So remind them of the stakes. I'm going to turn this off, come back to some comments. If there's any conversation here. Yeah, seriously, my car got hit during a live show a while ago. But anyway, this time I was in it. Daniel highly recommends the course. He went through it. It's really fun. And a bunch of people, a good chunk of people have gone through it so far. Thanks, Daly. This all comes from a copywriting. Like I've been a marketer for over 10 years. And that was my gig for a long time. So and I've been in sales before that. So there's a lot of specific language that you have to do. And what's crazy is you can kind of build stuff out a little structurally. You can have this kind of template. Like, so in every description, I'm going to say what's good about it. I'm going to clearly describe it. I'm going to say what's good about it. I'm going to walk people around any opposition to whatever that thing is. And then the last thing is I'm going to call them to action, and I'm going to kind of, in the right way, turn up the heat a bit so that they know you're not going to find another American Pro in Miami blue with a maple neck for under $1,000. And so you start, which that didn't happen. I don't know. That was a hypothetical. But anyway, here we go. So the bonus, there are some other things you can add in that fourth section that will really increase the chances of you selling stuff. If you're shipping stuff, free shipping works. We're in the Amazon time frame, and so people will pay so much more. I sold a guitar for $200 more last week. It was a $2,500 guitar. They wanted to do $2,300. I said, I'll do $2,500 and I will ship it to you, ship it and insure it. What they think is because they are a retail buyer, when they walk into the UPS store and they try to ship a guitar, it's going to cost them $150, $200. But for me, it only costs me about $65 or $70 because I have a ShipStation account. Not a sponsor. Would kind of like them to be a sponsor because I love ShipStation. And anyway, so if you can offer free shipping, that's where Reverb is helpful too. If you are selling stuff on Reverb, that's super helpful to offer free shipping because stuff will sell faster. And lots of research shows this. And what's crazy is people will pay more than it costs to ship it if they get it for free. Or, excuse me, when they're looking through listings, a lot of people will set the search filters to only free shipping. And so a lot of times, like, if you put, oh man, a pet peeve, don't put more than $7 or $10 shipping on a pedal. Like, it is so offensive to most buyers that they will just dismiss it. So anyway, or they're going to chop you down on an offer, and then you're just messing other people up in the market because they're going to see, oh, that pedal sold for $90. Well, it sold for $90 because they charged me $30 for shipping. So anyway, last one is use price anchoring. Now this is a little more into negotiating. So price anchoring is the idea of whoever says the first number is the one that stakes their, like they put their stake in the ground, and then everything is tied to that first number, which is why I hate the question, what's the lowest you do on this? Or like, what's your best price? Just give me your best price. And I always say no. And I kind of make a joke about it. Like with this, I'll tell people like, hey, don't make me negotiate against myself. I guess that's not a joke. That's just a like shot across the bow. But like, don't make me negotiate against myself. I already gave you the number that I want to sell it for, $130 or whatever. And then they say, would you do 65? No, but also have your margin. So whoever can stake the price first gets closest to their number. And so if you can like set your number above where you think their first offer is going to be, and then you guys can just meet in the middle, and then you meet in the middle at the number you actually want to do. So anyway, there are a bunch of other factors on how you would do this, but think about price anchoring when you're pricing a thing. Also, you can bank on impulsivity when this is also part of just strategy of pricing things. You can put it in the middle of the market or towards the top end of the market with free shipping and kind of bank on like you're just going to get somebody to hit that thing and just take it. If you put stuff at the high end with shipping, they're going to chop you down. They're going to make offers. So anyway, so now with all of that said, we're going to start reviewing some descriptions. And so the quick summary, one, I'm going to be looking for what are you offering. Number two, I'm going to say I'm going to look for what's good about the thing. Number three, I'm going to look for what's in their way. What's holding them back? What's the opposition that they would have? Are you dealing with what the customer is going to be concerned about? And what happens if they don't buy it? That's the fourth thing. That's the call to action, kind of that insinuation, that hint of like, don't miss out, strike today, get a quote today or whatever. Let me come back over here to the comments. So sounds like what you do in some videos which feature guitars. Good things, bad things. Yeah, it's true. And that's kind of what you're doing. You're giving a somewhat of a demonstration or explanation of the guitar. And I think it's if you want to have a superpower in the world, build up your ability to empathize with people and to kind of come at life from their perspective, to honor their perspective. Because if you start putting words to the concerns that they have, they will trust you. Now, you have to be anchored in the truth when you're doing this, and you have to have an ethical center. But yeah, if you are empathetic, sheesh, that's what I tell my kids all the time. Like, it is a superpower to be unoffendable. That's what I tell one of my kids all the time, because she just struggles with like the injustice of things. Oh, there's a lot of rain. So basically, bump up the price $150 to $200 to say it's free shipping. Sometimes it depends on what you're shipping, and it's all kind of proportional. Like you can't do that on like a $300 import acoustic guitar or whatever, but you could do that on a $2,500 custom shop or whatever. Oh boy, that's really raining. You missed low stakes. Ooh, hang on, let me come back here. I was moving quickly. So remind them of the stakes. So the stakes are you get a guitar that you cannot live without and you're going to keep this thing forever. That's the best way that this story could end. You get a guitar that is just perfect and you're going to write a new song and that song's going to start a band not that you're promising that stuff, but that's the best thing that could happen with this. The other stakes are, you miss out on this guitar, you get stuck playing a boring guitar, you don't have a guitar that feels like it represents you, you don't feel inspired, you don't want to play guitar very much, and you give up playing guitar. So that's kind of where you would use it. You have to be careful with the negative stakes, the negative side of the failure of that story. It's like salt. So like even a chocolate cake has to have salt, but you can't be heavy-handed. So if you can't say like, if you don't buy this, you're gonna give up on guitar and you're never gonna have a girlfriend and you're gonna die lonely, and like heavy-handed. But yeah. Oh, right. Highlight the problems that are low stakes. That's what you were talking about. Okay. I just figured this one out recently. When I have a guitar, especially one that's problematic, I will probably overly emphasize the problems that are easily fixable, but I'll make them seem like they're a big deal, and I'll kind of set it up so that it's not the end of the world. So I'll say, like, yeah, I mean, this guitar, somebody cut the nut slots too low, and which that one's actually kind of annoying. That one's actually kind of a bigger deal. But you have a Strat. Somebody changed all the knobs and the tuners to like stuff that's very specific, like speed knobs on a Strat, or they put like locking tuners or something. You can just say like, somebody really kind of customized this guitar, and so you would bring more attention to that, and you would just say like, I mean, those parts are probably worth some money, but you would change them. And so you would make that a bigger deal, and then you're not going to talk about how, like, when they did that, they also scalloped the fingerboard, so I'll downplay the actual bigger things. And I'm trying to think, like, I need better examples of this, but I think that's the bigger part that you can do it in such a way that people kind of see, they take stock of like, oh, okay, I can fix the big things, and then the other things, like, they're not actually that big of a deal. Like, I'm getting a used and cool guitar. Of course it's going to be weird and have weird, the guy tried to relic it himself, and it just looks like a pocket knife and hanging out the back of a pickup truck. So yes, let me come back to the comments. Chad. Oh, sorry. I've been kind of looking through this. Let me come back. Chad, what are your thoughts on Eastman guitars? I really like Eastman guitars. I have one over here in the case. I played a bunch at Merlefest. They're really good guitars. I love Blue Ridge guitars, and they're just that next couple ticks up in quality, but also in price from where Blue Ridge was. The finishes aren't as like thick, and the design isn't as heavy-handed as the Blue Ridge. So they sell themselves as handmade guitars in China. I don't know how true that is, but they're really good guitars. Lots of people really like them. I've tried to have them on the channel so that I can demo them, but Eastman's been difficult to work with. Like, each time they've said I don't have enough subscribers. They've told me that twice. So anyway, it doesn't hurt my feelings, but it does hurt you guys, because it's not helpful, because that's probably on the short list of what guitars a lot of people are trying to check out, and I just don't have a dealer here close by. So yeah, Orangewood does free hard cases, and that's just the thing. Like, you'll pay more to get a thing for free, but you're really just paying for that thing. But the Orangewood cases have all been really nice, of the ones I've had. Chad, would you buy a new AD-17 today, or wait to see if Sweetwater has a Memorial Day sale in a couple weeks? I doubt they're going to have any. I mean, Sweetwater's always great and has a bunch of sales on stuff, but also, right now it's so hard to get Taylors. Like, last I heard from the Taylor rep, they are still 200,000 guitars behind on orders. So they're still building them as fast as they can. So if you could find one now, if it doesn't break the bank, if you can afford it, if it's the right guitar for you, if it's going to stick with you for a long time, if it's going to set you up to play in certain musical situations, I think it's a good time to strike while the iron's hot. I had the black top. I loved that guitar. It was a move that I knew was the right move because I traded it for a Wright Lutherie, but wish I would still have my AD-17. But anyway. Greenwave says, just opened my account my account with Reverb yesterday, hunting for 71 Gibson Acoustic. Oh boy. 71 is a bad time for Gibson Acoustics. They're boxy, they don't sound good, they play hard, they have bad finishes. I have one over here. I think it's a 71 or 72 J50 Deluxe, J40 Deluxe. It's rough. All right. Tex! Hey, Tex, look back here. This is the Showalter Free Spirit we were just talking about you and talking about them. Oh, thanks, Megan. Yeah, all cool guitars. Most of them are built by friends near and far. Yeah. Let's see, my friend Ben, my friend Marco, Mark and Jeff, and then Steve built these two over here. Does Sweetwater have a price adjustment policy? I'm not sure. But anyway. If I ever built my own guitar, I have. I have built 6 or 7 guitars from like a block of wood, but I still like bought a neck. But I built like Tele and Strat bodies. I'm not a great woodworker. Like I'm thoroughly like middle of the road for woodworking. And I just live in my inductive reasoning. And so for me sitting down being like, I need to do A to B to C to D kind of kills me. And I try to just kind of jump in and do it. So anyway, yeah. So, all right. Let us jump in here. Okay, let me see if I want to do it so that you don't see my email account. If I can do that. Okay, here we go. So now, share screen. Share screen. A Chrome tab. I will do this one. Okay, so this is from Tanner. So Tanner says, hey, I've been watching your channel for a long time. My family runs a local music shop in Edmonton, Alberta, and this has been has been around since 1967. My grandfather started it, and I'll be taking it over. Wow, that's so good. Here's one of our listings. If you ever get a chance to come up to Canada, we would love to have you. I would love to come up. So it says, let me know how I do on wording. So, oh man, it's a really great picture. All right, so the number one problem I see is $642 shipping. That's going to scare off most everybody, and I understand it's a $12,000 guitar. But when someone sees shipping that high, I'm assuming that's probably because you're in Canada and it's going to cost you a freaking ton of money to get it into the U.S., and that's probably where this is going to wind up, is back in the U.S. But let's go down here too. So I like its kind of bullet points. It's kind of readable. Fantastic shape, usual play wear, neck reset, and refret. Fantastic sounding guitar, great tone all the way up the neck. Tone isn't compromised higher up the neck. Okay, that's good. That's a good opposition. Think about that. Like, would people be scared of like, well, if I play this guitar up, is the intonation out? Is it going to be buzzy? Is it going to choke out? And so that's a good kind of sentence that's doing a lot of heavy lifting there. Neck reset. Slight shim under the fingerboard extension. See photos. Okay, so this guitar, one of the lingering questions people would have for an old Martin like this is, how's the action? Has the neck been reset? And was it done properly? And so with this, you're saying it has been done properly. Now, there is a shim under the fingerboard, but that's pretty common when you do that level of... Okay. Yeah, when you're doing that level of kind of reconditioning maintenance on this kind of guitar. Case photos not included. Comes with a made in Canada hard shell case, non-original. So probably a TKL. Wouldn't you say a TKL if it is? They're made in Canada, but it might also be, what's that other one? Cedar Creek. Gator's made in the U.S. or made in China. What other Canadian-made cases are there? Why wouldn't you just say TKL? So, with this one, I think it hits most of those things. I wish it was a little more like it's just bullet points. Now it does answer those questions: what's good about it, what's bad about it, what oppositions would you have to it, and does it call people to action? It doesn't quite call to action. There's no line saying call us today, or if you're in Canada, come by and check it out. There's no cinch on this. So the two big things I'll ding this one for is, number one, shipping at $600. Like, there's no, like, nothing says I am not concerned about selling this guitar like offering shipping that high. I would put this at 13 grand, and I put it at 13 grand, and I would say free shipping. And then I would just tweak this copy to be a little more, instead of bullet points, a little more narrative. And I'm not saying write a book. I'm saying write 4 sentences, 6 sentences that are just answering these same things. And you could even leave the format a little bit the same, but just make it a little more personal. But this is a great guitar. Oh, man. Woo! Oh, man, that's a great one. It's still pretty shiny on the neck. Whoa! This is wartime. Why didn't you even talk about that? There's nothing talking about that in the... You would talk about what makes this guitar so cool in the what's good about it. You would talk about, hey, this thing has plastic buttons because we needed bullets in France. And this thing doesn't have bushings on the tuners because we needed tanks in Southeast Asia. Like, you would talk about, like, this guitar was built by the best guitar builders that have ever worked there. And when everyone else had to leave and go to the war effort, Martin was making guitars because music matters, creativity matters. We have to have a world to come back to after World War II. That's why we're making these guitars that are so good. So I would talk about all the wartime stuff. I mean, yeah, this is a great guitar. Oh boy. Oh, that saddle's really low. Really low saddle. Okay. That's a really good one. I just think, yeah, so maybe 3 things. Like, talk about wartime. It's cool. All right. I'll close this. If I close this, what happens over here? Okay, it's back. Yep. Oh, maybe Calton? Is Calton made in Canada? They were made in Canada for a while. Okay. Yep. He's in the Maple family. I didn't know that. Cool. Okay. So, anyway, yeah. So that's kind of my, like, general critique. I don't know how to summarize my findings. But, okay, so that's one. So, now, let me look for... Okay. Share. Screen. And I will do this. Okay. So, hang on, let me come over here and I'm going to read this real quick. So, Jeremy Betts says, hey, Jeremy, I've had my 69 Gibson B25 12 for a while between Marketplace, Craigslist, and now Reverb. It's just not for me. I recently got a 74 Guild 12 or a Guild 212, and it's outstanding. What can I change to make it sell sooner? All right, so let's look at this thing. I'm going to come over here and make sure. Okay, we're good. We're working. We're cooking. All right, so a Gibson B25 12 1969 natural. These are so wonky. I like them, but they're just strange guitars. They're not worth a ton of money. There's just a bunch of things about them. But let's read this description. So, this is a Gibson B25 12, a 12-string student model guitar introduced by Gibson in 1962. This features a spruce top, mahogany back and sides, and a bridge and fingerboard made of Brazilian rosewood. As far as I can tell, this is either from 68 or 69, given the trapeze tailpiece, adjustable ebony saddle, screw-on pickguard, and straight bridge. The guitar plays well and has a sound of its own. All necessary work, including neck resets and fretwork, and a couple of repairs were done by the previous owner, which all seem to have been professionally done. I will include a non-hard shell case. So it just feels a bit sterile. Like it feels just removed. It almost feels like he copied and pasted that first sentence or so. I would say something like, there is something magical about a short scale 12 string in recording and live music. It just adds texture that 6 strings don't do. If you're looking for a guitar that adds flavor and texture and is just a totally different sound, this is a great guitar. This is the kind of guitar that would help you discover new kinds of music and to be, I would just kind of talk about what does this guitar do in the life of a guitar player who's buying that kind of guitar. Like, you want something folky, you want something weird, you want something unique. I would talk about Nathaniel Rateliff. I would talk about how it has an old tone, but it's totally usable in today's guitar space. There's a lot that's being missed here. It feels just sterile. You don't talk about what's bad about it as... like you kind of say that there were repairs. What were the repairs? You did say a neck reset. That's a giant deal. It has a neck reset. It plays great. There's plenty of saddle. The neck is low. I would just make all of this more personal and kind of flow more. And then the last thing is really cinch it together. Are you accepting offers on this? So if you're accepting offers, so you do have free shipping, great. I would say, I hate the price guide on Reverb for some reasons. Like this saying, there are other ones from $1,000, but these are all student level. I wouldn't lead with calling it a student level guitar because it's an all solid wood American made guitar. It may have been aimed at students, but what people think of when they hear student level guitar now is not the same thing as 1968. 1968, I mean, there were still some weird things like Danny, if you watched that video from earlier this week, Danny was talking about in the late 60s, Gibson was just trying to keep up. And so on a lot of guitars, especially the B25s, they would have laminate or plywood or bridge plates. But anyway, I digress. I think this listing has a bunch of potential. I would just tweak it and make it a lot more personal and aspirational. Like the person who's going to buy this guitar is someone who wants something funky and cool and weird. And I would talk about Nathaniel Rateliff and all that. So, what do you guys think? Let me come back here. Do I miss the 2017 J45? I do. I love J45s. I want something short scale. I think I'm ready to... Don't want to say that. That's why and it's not. It's a long scale too. It's 25 and a half. I don't have a round shouldered 24.9 or 24.75, 24. My brain's not working. 24 3/4? Is that J45 scale length? Sheesh. Crazy. Okay. But yeah, I miss round shoulders. I love them. I think they do a thing. They're so jangly and spongy and fun. And they, especially when you get them down, like tune them down to D standard. Whew. Yeah. Rasmus still looking for a J45. Let me close this window. So, they might have been swapped. I got it from a guy here in town, but he had just gotten it from Guitar Center. It still had the receipt in the case. So maybe they were Tusk and I called them Bone. They would have been Tusk. But I like those. Yeah, missed some serious potential, I think. Question about Eastman guitars. I have a Gibson J45 Banner and a grandson 1-in-1, so I got him a Guild DS240 Memoir. Not much bass, but good for under $500. Yeah, I think there's also some strings you can put on there that would be a little more bassy. Nickel bronze from Diodario would kind of thump out in a couple weeks. They would kind of die out just a little bit. I love this. Also, active voice is your friend, everyone. So good. 24.75. Yeah, I don't, man, my brain, I browned out there for a second. But can you go into sold listings? Can you go into sold listings that sold high and find out what wording was used? That's a really good question. Let us go exploring. Share screen. Okay. They've just started. Is Reverb, how do you do it? How do you find sold listings? I know you can find them. Let's do. This is a thing that eBay is much better for. Let me come, we'll just do this. So eBay is much better about showing you how much things have actually sold for. Ooh, I like that. I like that red a lot. I mean, these are so cool. Oh boy, why are you so slow? Okay. I'm gonna come back over here. And let me open the next one. So Evan, I think Evan's in here. We've got Evan Ogden here. So this is a Facebook Marketplace. Ineligible. What does that mean? Oh. Facade. All right, here we go. Nope, sorry. I love eBay. I still think eBay is way better for certain things, for figuring out exactly what things are worth to get value of what people are actually paying. It's a piece of information that makes eBay so valuable. And Reverb has always kind of hidden that from you. So, okay. So here's, man, this is a great, okay. So, FSOT 2013 Martin 00018 with Fishman Matrix and Guardian HSC. Couple things. Too many acronyms right off of the bat. The first thing they need to hear is Martin guitar, because what people want in most, if they want an acoustic guitar, I mean, it is so rare that people would not want a Martin. At least, you know, that's what they would click on. FSOT, for sale or trade, is just too much insider language, and so it's going to run some people off. The same thing with the HSC at the end. This just needs to be really tidy. You could say 2013 Martin 00018 with pickup and hard case. And then in the description, kind of go to it. Same thing with the description, Evan. So you got FSOT, for sale or trade, is an incredible Martin 00018. This guitar both looks great and sounds beautiful. Beautiful mahogany back and sides and a unique and pristine spruce top. This guitar has been well kept and is a joy to play. Though I have only played this out once, this guitar does have a Fishman Matrix on board. The guitar comes with a hard case, or with all the case candy and Guardian. So that's not the original case this would have come with. Why? That's interesting. It's not the TKL. It's not a Geb. Looks like a Geb case. So maybe maybe it's an upgrade, but anyway. Okay, this guitar has flown once, checked, no damage occurred, but the case and a few small dings and a fragile sticker, blah, 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 left a residue. Let me know what questions you have. Okay, I think the number one thing, it's wordy. And it's like, so the same thing people are picking on for Amber Heard. Like, it's flowery, but it doesn't say much. And so with this, you say you repeat beautiful twice, and I am one of the worst offenders of bad and repetitive adjective use. I will kill my... No, I won't say that. But I want to punch myself each time I watch a video in which I just say, that's cool. Or like, so cool. Like, I just... Anyway, we have to work to broaden our vocabulary in such a way that you can use words that convey, you know, a musical instrument. How it sounds, how it feels, to have it around you. So, number one, I would remove the insider language of the FSOT and OHSC, the For Sale or Trade, Original Hard Showcase. I would just make this a little more bullet point, straight to answer those 4 questions. There's no real call to action. It's pretty like, let me know if you have questions. It's just, you know, it's kind of like when you're in a store and like you're probably interested in something, but they're like, let me know if you want to try anything on. You're like it's just a, like there's a level of non-commitment. That's a bit tricky. So, we haven't really talked about pictures. We can talk about pictures another time. That's a great guitar. Oh, why? Why? Evan, did you do this? Who did this to you? Martin 00018. It doesn't mention that, does it? It doesn't say that there's... okay, so this is also not a reimagined one. So this is older. It doesn't say what year it is, does it? Maybe 2013. I don't think this is a 2013, Evan. 2012 was the reimagined, so this should have open gear tuners, and it should have a different... Yeah. This is before reimagined, because that headstock. Okay, well, there's no close way to see it. But yeah, that's the foil logo and Grover's. And it doesn't have aging toner on the top. All right. I think this is earlier than a 2012. I think it's before 2012. I don't think it's 2013. I could be wrong, but anyway. Yeah. Evan, are you in here? You are. Tell me what you think. Have I offended you? Evan. Hey, buddy. You didn't do that? Good. Bless you. But yeah, what do you think? I don't... have you checked the serial number, or how'd you come up with 2013? Because it should have open gear Grovers, the silkscreen logo, ebony bridge, ebony fingerboard, and the aging toner on the top. Still a great guitar. Good. Not offended. Yeah. Have I ever tried an Ortega horse kick stomp box? I haven't. Do you have one? Daniel, run a search, then filter sold listings. Got it. All right. So while we're at that, let's see. Tex says, got an Eastman E20 SS VSB slope shoulder, vintage varnish sunburst. Their take on a solid wood J45 sounds similar to a J45, but $2,000 less. Plays nicely. That's awesome. That's a great spec of a guitar. I also really like their varnishes. I've played a couple of those. And so anyway. Okay, so Evan's gonna check the serial. Reimagine started for the D28s in 2018. In 2012 was the shift for D18s. Random question, but what are your thoughts on Rickenbackers? Used to work in a music store, so I've been through many guitars over the years, but my 620s are some of the best I've ever heard and played. I really like Ricks. They're so rare. You just don't see them very often. I had a custom, they wouldn't call it a custom shop, but I had a Rick that had toaster pickups, and it was a solid body. I think it was a 620. That's the thing, is they're so hard to keep track of what's what. But on the one I had, it was super cool. The guy I sold it from, the guy I bought it from was shortly after I bought it from him, was arrested for possession and manufacturing of methamphetamines, and he went to prison, and he sent me like hand-drawn pictures of Jesus for years. So there's that. But the story he had was that he bought this Rick 620 with toaster pickups. It was black with white plastics. He said that he bought it after a show with Joe Walsh from Joe Walsh's Guitar Tech. I don't believe any of that, but it was cool. So I really like Ricks, and I wish that I don't know, like, sometimes they feel a little bit like an SG to me because the bodies are so thin and everything seems to be kind of lifted up off of it. So it doesn't feel very natural to play. Like, my hands feel like they're hitting the pickups because there's this big gap between where the body is and where all the pickups and the bridge and everything is. Same thing with Les Pauls. They're just kind of elevated off the top of the guitar a little too much for me. Does the original case make much of a difference? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Usually no. Sometimes if it's like if they moved up to like a Geb style, I don't know how you pronounce that, Geib. If you move up to like the dog bone crushed velvet, really nice case, like you could pay another $100 for it or something. I have found that like pickups and guitars and like upgraded cases, they don't necessarily add value, but they will increase the speed at which you sell that guitar. So if you can write off $100 different, but I'll get it to sell in 3 days instead of 4 weeks. Anyway. That's interesting. I could be wrong, but yeah. So anyway, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like I had a 2000. I've been saying for a while that it was 2012, but I definitely could be wrong. I'll check into that. Love you stories. Yeah, I want to keep. I'm gonna keep doing those because I keep finding like just crazy stories. But anyway. Let's see. I think we have like one more, maybe. So that was Evans. That was a really good one. And then I've got Christopher, the Panda. Sorry, I should have put you in here first. So, the Panda. Where are you? Are you still in here? Share screen. Guys, it's getting hot in here. 75. I had to turn off the AC because the microphone picks it up. But okay. Oh, man, that's a great-looking guitar. Whoa! You dropped the price a bunch. Or at least it, like, feels like you dropped it off. So this is a Masterbuilt? Is that the AJ500? The Masterbuilt? It's a good-looking guitar. Good pictures. At least that first picture. Okay, so it's a gloss top, satin back and sides. Round shoulder mahogany. It's interesting. It's not quite the same shape as its Gibson components. Like it's a little more, like it's not as round. Interesting. Good looking guitar. Still has the plastic on the pickguard cover. Still has the stickers on the back. This thing's so new. One sticker got taken off there. What happened there? Is that where the serial number was? Or maybe that's... Oh, it says used. Okay. That's weird. That gold foil. Maybe it was assigned to... Maybe this was broken and like a new neck was put on it or a neck repair and they gave it a different serial number. I don't know. Interesting. Oh, that's cool. So it's good to use the StewMac. Is that the StewMac or to use an actual like measurement instead of like putting a quarter? And I wish the camera angle was just a little like closer, tighter on this. But anyway, we're not looking at the pictures. We're looking at the descriptions. What's this? Oh, I don't want you. Get out of here, honey. What is happening? Okay. All right. We did it. We've got a copy and paste situation. Okay. Number one, I fell in love with the AJ500M's deep sound, and I'm going in a different direction. Solid thick spruce top, mahogany back and sides. This particular guitar has a nice boomy voice. Overall, the vocal range is nice. Slope shoulder dreadnoughts are by far underrated when compared to the bigger dreadnoughts. I don't know if that's true, but lots of voice and tonal character in a smaller body. It's not technically actually a smaller body. It's like literally just those little crescent moon differences. But as far as volumetrically, it's about the same volume and size as a Dread. But anyway, this is similar to an AJ45 except it's a 25.5-inch scale length, which gives it a tight feeling and bounce you can't get from a shorter scale length. And then there's this big chunk. Is this copy and pasted? No. Okay, this is just like trying to bring some details into it. So this guitar has low action, C pitch, and plays well. No cracks in the wood. It is stamped used per factory refurbish rules. Is stamped inside the headstock. So I mean, all of this, it's good information. I would just like really kind of rework that first chunk of text. The first thing is people interpret life as a story. And so if you use the elements of story, everyone is on their own heroic journey. And I'm not saying that people are necessarily heroic in themselves, but they are the person in the story and they have a problem they can't fix. They're looking for a guitar. They want to be creative. They want to make new friends. They want to, develop their skill set. They just like music, whatever it is, and they're looking for a guitar. So the problem is when we jump in, when you're trying to sell something and you jump into the role that your reader is putting themselves into, when you jump in and say, I had this guitar, but I don't want it anymore, they're just saying like, okay, well, I hope you find the right guitar, but I'm not going to buy this just so you can buy a different guitar. So what I would say is this all just needs to be tweaked, reoriented to, hey, if you want a guitar that feels like a professional grade guitar that is solid top, back and sides, it's iconic in its design, but it's still affordable, this is a great guitar for you. It's a great transitional guitar, but you don't even have to move on past this guitar, because it is the same materials as a $5,000 guitar. You could easily put a pickup in this guitar. Now it does have some issues with it. This guitar has been used and played. It was bought as a refurbished guitar from Epiphone originally. That's why on the back of the headstock. And so you could make this more narrative and make it flow, but also, I mean, the thing is, you need to orient everything to what is the person that's buying this? What are they struggling with? What are they trying to do with their life? And what's the perfect thing that could happen to them? The perfect thing is they get a guitar that inspires them, that they get into lessons and they get into playing out. They start writing songs. They start making a band. I mean, you just start orienting everything you're doing to the success of whoever's going to buy this thing from you. So it's not bad, but it's just kind of everything in the kitchen sink. There's no call to action. Yeah, I would kind of rework this. It's just too long and too scrolly. Because they also all the product specs would be down here if you'd need. Because other people have bought this kind of guitar on here. You could just pick out the most important. Yeah, I was just oriented to who's going to be buying this thing. So, anyway. This one. Okay. Yeah, they were definitely more like humbuckers. They were like more rock and roll. They sounded, I mean, I don't know what to compare them to. Kind of like a Firebird is what I remember that thing sounding like. But I haven't played a ton of electric guitar since, like, I was in metal bands and pop punk bands and hardcore bands for years. And then I really kind of shifted in maybe 2008, 2009. I really shifted what I was playing into being much more acoustic guitar focused. But anyway. I don't know. I'll have to look at it. They definitely did some tweaks and upgrades to the D because they've staggered them. I think it was 2019 was when they brought out the reimagined D41 and the 42 because they were still doing those with like gold Goto tuners instead of open gears. So anyway. That's a smashing looking guitar. It is. Will an aftermarket acoustic preamp change the way an acoustic electric originally sounds? Will an aftermarket acoustic preamp change the way an acoustic electric guitar originally sounds? Yes, it has to. Because even in its amplification, it's going to add some level of tone shaping. Whether that's EQ, whether that's phase, whether that's output volume. I don't know if I totally understand your question. I have a J45 Masterbuilt. Great guitar. Yeah, they're so good. There's an ES2 on the Taylor Sound Thin. Would a preamp help? I haven't found them to sound thin. I did really like that, the ES2 running through, I mean, I'm sorry, this is a $400 solution or a $400 pedal, but the LR Baggs voice print is an amazing DI. I haven't done a review on it because they don't have an app on Android, and so I can't use it, and I don't want to I'm not going to buy a phone to make a video. And I've borrowed my wife's to set up the voice prints, but anyway, the voice print adds a bunch of like clarity and low end to it. What should I be aware of when I find a 71 Gibson Acoustic? Why is it a bad time for them? So in the Norlin era of Gibson, particularly the acoustics, they went from round shoulders to square shoulders, which is more stylistic and aesthetic. But the finish changed, the quality of the materials changed. The single biggest thing that makes them very undesirable for most people is that they went to a double X bracing. So normally guitars would, like sound hole, they would have an X right behind the sound hole. But instead, they added another X brace at the bottom behind the bridge, so in the big belly of the guitar. And when they did that, they're just putting braces on the resonant area of the top of the guitar. And so it just makes it where they're clunky, they don't resonate, they don't sound very good. The other thing is the finishes, they go to polyurethane finishes instead of lacquer finishes. Because people will always kind of find like, oh, I can get a 72 J45 for $400. And then they get it and they're like, this is the worst guitar I've ever heard. So they're bad until the mid-'80s. And even then, it's not until the early 90s in Bozeman that Gibson acoustics get anywhere close to as good as they were back before. Do you have any ideas what an Epiphone John Lennon EJ160 is worth? It comes with a really nice hard shell case. The owner says the guitar is limited. I mean, it's an artist model. They are not hard to find. And they don't sound very good. Like, they're novel. But I don't like how they sound. I don't know. I would guess $400. I don't think that I think they're basically just a standard, like, laminate back and sides, solid spruce top, polyurethane finish, with the gimmicky pickup in the neck. So, I don't know. Not super desirable for me. Gary, you see lots of lefties on the internet. How often would you run into them? Very rarely. There are shops that have that's become their thing. Like, what's that shop? The Royal Pawn of Pentagon City. The one I bought a lefty. I went and checked out a lefty for a friend that was buying one in North Carolina, and they had a bunch of lefties. Hey, this has been a cracking show. So much learning. Thanks, bud. Sonia, did you ever find a guitar, a Strat or Tele with Lindy Fralin pickups? What do you think of their sound? Lindy Fralins are amazing. They're really great pickups. I've seen a bunch of them. Don't a lot of Nashes come with Lindy Fralins? Also, is it Fralin or Lawler? One of them is in Richmond, Virginia, and they're doing all the pickups for the Huss and Dalton Statesboroughs, and they've been really good, kind of accurate. Like they're basically doing PAF style humbuckers. So, Daniel, how much should you pay for a 2021 Epiphone USA Casino? They're so cool. I don't really know without doing some research. But I mean, there's no way, like, you wouldn't find one under 2,500 in the U.S. because they are Gibsons, and the Casinos have such a premium added to them. I mean, like, you're probably going to be in the threes, realistically, unless you find a deal. Because anything the Beatles played, like that J160, not a great guitar, but people will pay a lot more because John Lennon played it. Is 2,600 reasonable? I think so. I don't know how much. I mean, I'd have to poke around and see because that's like one of the brand new kind of models. But you figure somebody paid 32 or 33 for it, so they've already lost, the $700-800 or however much. So maybe you can get it with the least bottoming out in the price. So you gonna buy my 00810 or what? I have like 45 guitars right now. I do not need any more guitars for a while. But I have an amazing guitar coming from Boxwood Guitars. They build square, boxy guitars, and they sound amazing. And I think I'm going to fly out to California and pick that one up. This is my newest guitar, which I know I've talked about and shown off. But this, my friends, is a Rich Allen vintage guitar. This is his no-caster. No, this is a Blackguard. And reverse controls, antiquities, compensated barrels, and compensated nut. And then amazing checking. This is my favorite guitar. I cannot believe it. So I made the video for this. And Rich said, hey, like, if you want it, you can have it. And I want it. So yeah, I obviously made a deal like, hey, don't just get rid of it if you ever, But yeah, I'm so excited about this guitar. So anyway, I do have a bunch of stuff for sale, and as you go, you're now going to see how I kind of think through. I definitely don't have the way to do it, but I have a way that works really well because I've sold a ton of guitars. I've probably sold close to 1,000 guitars in the last 5 years. Maybe hyperbole. I mean, there were a couple years before I was doing YouTube videos that's all I was doing. Like every single day was taking 3 or 4 or 5 guitars. Packing them up and sending them, to the UPS store. So, my consignment fee is typically $25. Sorry, 25%. Usually, sometimes less, sometimes more. If people are rude, it will be more. An Aston, it is. An Aston Origin. I'm doing my best to imitate J.P. Cormier. Yeah, it was just out of frame over here, but I moved it, and now I kick it every time I move. So, if someone wants a Gallagher, can you help them spec and order one right? I can. You can go to jeremytheguitarhunter.com/Gallagher-guitars, and you can fill out the form there, and then I'll give you a call, and we'll kind of work through a quote on what you're thinking. But, yeah. Drew, Jeremy, I posted this on the Facebook live chat, but not sure if you saw it. I've been following you for a few years now. That's amazing. Thank you. And haven't ever heard you mention McPherson acoustics. Any thoughts? I love McPherson acoustics. Well, I love what they are and how unique and totally different they are in perspective on building and tone. I'm still confused by how they got to be so popular, especially in the contemporary Christian world. Like, I would not have called that. I would have called Collings or Bourgeois or Froggy. Like, I would have called a bunch of other boutique brands before McPherson's blew up. The first place I ever remember seeing McPherson, and whoever did it, man, that marketing person, or it's just dumb luck, the original string swing ads for years on the package for the string swing, it was like purple and green. I can still see it in my mind. And in the back, it was a McPherson guitar. And I remember being so, compelled. Like, what is that guitar? What is it? And searching, and I was like, it's a Tacoma. I was like, no, it's not a Tacoma because we sell those, and their sound holes are in a different place. But McPherson's are amazing. They use incredible... they are blissfully disconnected from the anchor of tradition that most guitar brands are. So they're really able to kind of thread the needle... And not thread the needle, but charge into a new territory of different sound holes, different sound boards, different neck joints, different materials. They're just quite expensive. So, but I think they're really, really cool guitars. So thanks for following for all these years. Sorry, I didn't see it on the Facebook chat. I'm sorry. Most of these, they come in here. But anyway, Samuel Chung, what are your thoughts on Fender Strats made in Japan? I love Japanese-made Fenders. My number one, my Pink Paisley, which I'm going to make a video about this week. This is made in Japan. This is 1986. I think some of the parts, when I first got it, some of the parts date to 85, but the neck joint says September of 86. And so I don't know. But anyway, it is a guitar. So Japanese-made stuff is really good quality. The place that they tend to cut the most corners are the pickups and the hardware. The pickups and the electronics are going to be super cheap. And so that's where, like, the best thing you can do is just swap out. Best thing you can do is swap out to CTS pot and harness and update the pickups. I also swapped the tuners on mine, but mine had 5 original tuners. They weren't anything that special, and then one was broken off and was like a Gibson style tulip, so it was weird. So no. On this, it was 5 kind of tarnished, nickel-y looking vintage style tuners, and then 1 bright, shiny new Goto. So I swapped them out for relic Goto tuners. But yeah, other than that guitar. So I think they're great. People are getting wise to them, and they're getting expensive. So now they're not as much of a deal. They used to be $400 to $500, $600. Now they're $800 to $1,000, $1,200. But quality's great. They're really good. For there, Caleb's here. Hey, buddy. 3/4 of your stand finished. Awesome. I'm so excited. Yeah, I've been saying I'm going to make a video on my Pink Paisley for 5 years. I'll do it this week, though. What's your opinion on the D1 1990s? They're great. So the D1 is a dreadnought, and it's a solid top because it has the 1. That's what the 1 designates. Really cool guitars. I have a DM in the house that was my neighbor's, and it was just so dry. So I put some Humidipacks in it like 2 months ago. I haven't checked it yet. I got to breathe some new life into that guitar. But yeah, La Conner is about an hour from me. Wish I could check out that guitar festival. You should try. Try and go if you can. It's going to be so good. Gage Halland is going to be there from Halland Guitars. I think Leo Buendia is going to be there as well. I mean, you will see some of the best guitars in the freaking world at that show. I wish I could go. Caleb, do I want to see the telecast you made? Absolutely. You can email it to info@jeremyshepard.com, or I think you have my email address as well. You can send it. Let me see if there are any others to review, and then we'll wrap up here soon. We've been going for a long time. I can feel my voice getting tired. Did anybody send me anything on Instagram? I can check that too. Stigma Guitars just ask, what is the interesting one on the left right there? Left right there. Oh. That is the one back here. He's not in here, I don't think. Should I do a story while I'm doing a live show? Is that too much? Is that meta? But that is the prototype Free Spirit from Showalter Guitars. Showalter Guitars, Free Spirit. Offset. The other ones, after that, the bridge is the other way around. It curves away, because this one curves like towards your hand as you're strumming, and then everything also is centered on the ones after this. So, how do you get to my Sweetwater page? There should be a link in the description of this video. If you're watching on YouTube, which it looks like you're coming from YouTube, I need to update my studio page, because I have a bunch of stuff that I'm using now that I wasn't on that original list. But let me get that link. What was that? There was a noise. I don't know what that noise was. But let me see. Are you looking for... It's thought I was in here. Let me see if I can find it. Sorry, this isn't very interesting. Oh, I don't know if I can find it quickly. Wait, I found it. Says your shop is live. Oh, that's right. I have to do this. Hang on. It will be 1 second. I need to make a video of like my favorite gear, but I've just been drowning in like all of this stuff I'm trying to get done at the same time. All right, here we go. Got it. So there is a link to, this is like the referral link to my, so that link will take you to my Sweetwater shop. And then if you buy anything, I think within like 2 weeks, a week, I get credit. It won't go to Facebook, but it is on the YouTube page and it's on my LinkedIn. So if you're friends with me on LinkedIn, I don't think anyone watches from, no, there's one uncomfortable story that happened a couple months ago. We were on a live show like this, and I'm telling a story about how I was in a band in college, and it was like, what was your worst? Somebody asked what was my worst experience in a band, and it was I wrote a record with a friend of mine, and we were in a band. We recorded a bunch of stuff, and it took us kind of all summer. Like we recorded it freshman year, and then we spent most of the summer sending back and forth, like having to mail copies of like a USB flash drive or a CD that had like different mixes and cuts of stuff. We finally finished it. I think it was 7 songs. So it was an EP more than a record. But anyway, I'm telling this story about, so that band, we ended up kind of, like the band broke up just because we were just really busy and we weren't able to play music out as much. Because both of us, I was volunteering, I was leading Young Life. So both of us were super busy and just didn't have time to do shows. But fast forward, he makes a new band, and then he invites me to see their band play. And when I go, it's a bunch of new guys playing music, and they played 5 songs that I wrote. And they never asked my permission. But while that was happening, as I told that story a couple months ago, the guy in that band was the only person watching from LinkedIn, and he just was like, hey man, I'm here. Sorry, I didn't know that happened, which he knew. But anyway, so continue to, I don't know, I have nothing, I receive no shame from that. But anyway, so this has been a long one, hour and a half, and a bunch of people here. Thank you so much for all of this. Yeah, it was literally like I went to their show and they were playing songs that I had written, and it bummed me out. I mean, it's like, it's one thing if it was songs that we wrote together, but it was like songs that, like, you know, we had recorded, but like I brought them to the studio. And anyway, you live, you learn. But anyway, D1 like an X series now? Kinda. It's more like the Road series. If the Road, I don't think they offer any of the Road series now with laminate back and sides. Maybe they do. I don't pay attention to that. Like the $500 to $1,200 Martins, I just don't pay attention to very much. But anyway. Cool. Well, thanks everybody. I hope this has been helpful. Please give a thumbs up on this video. And I mean, if you're at this point, if you are subscribed, thank you. If you're not subscribed, think about it. Consider it. It costs you nothing, but it does help me and my family, and helps me. Like, it's amazing to me. I'm getting to take care of my family and build a life, in a town that I love being in, and I get to be around cool guitars all the time. I mean, I'm just so thankful for all of you. So, yeah, if you want, we've got some new coffee. If you want to buy some coffee, I can ship that out to you here soon. I've also got shirts and hats. And I don't think I have any more patches. I did patches. But anyway, thanks for everything. And go fill the world with music and friendship. That's all I got. Bye. Love you guys and gals. Love y'all. Love yous. Utes. Peoples. Bye.